Hello and welcome to this quick tutorial on the new date data collected field in the pull report generator. Now this is a new feature which is implemented as a notification, and that means it can be defined as a required field for every structure, and you aren't able to generate a report for a structure without having this field defined. By default, it's not populated with any value. It's not copied over from any other date that you have to find, and must be populated manually or manually set to a certain structure comment in PLS-CAD. So I have an example project that I've already loaded up in PRG. We're in the structure setup phase where we can review all of the notifications. And if we take a quick look, we see that every structure has an error. So if we wanted to try and continue on to finish up the report generation process, we're going to run into an error. So what we need to do, we need to resolve all the errors. And if we take a look for this first structure, the error tells us that the poll requires the date data collected. It also lets us know that it can be populated manually using the apply to all button or by specifying a structure comment override. And we'll go through all three of those definitions in this video. So the first is by defining the date manually by just typing in to the date data collected field. Now as soon as you press enter, you'll see that the notification was resolved. So we have the date, that error is gone. We can, if we wanted to, generate a report for the structure. Following on that, there's the apply to all, so you can select a specific date. You can either type it in or use the calendar date picker to select a date that you want to apply to every structure. And this will end up resolving most of the issues in this project. Now, there are a couple other structures that have errors, but the errors in this case are unrelated to this field. So for this project, I've already unselected these structures, meaning that they're not going to be reported on, and they're not going to be included in any enterprise integrations output. So if we wanted to, we could continue on. We see there are still warnings, but we're able to continue on and finish up the process. So assuming that you have these fields defined in PLS-CAD, you can also let PRG know where that information is, so it sort of pulls that information in automatically. But this does require you, so let me pull up PLS-CAD right now. So we're in the staking table, and I'm saying this requires that you reserve a structure comment column for the date data collected. So in this case, I reserved structure comment column 6 and filled the column with the date data collected values that I want to report. So the link that you provide in PRG occurs in the PLS setup blade, which is the first blade that you're shown in the program. So after defining your XML file, you have the option right under here to define a structure comment number override. So here under the date data collected, we'll select structure comment number 6 and reload the model. And by reloading the model, the information in structure comment column 6 will be pulled up into the structure setup table. So if we take a look now, see that column was automatically populated with the date values from the structure structure comments in PLSCAD. So now after completing some of the rest of the QC steps, we can, at this point, continue on. If we unselect the rest of the structures, we can generate reports for all the structures that passed our QC checks. So I've already generated a sample report showing the enterprise integration sort of spreadsheet where this information can be reported on. So here, these are all the structures that we generated a report for. Now, if you notice, all the structures that had errors, none of them appeared in the list, so we're only generating the reports for structures that passed all the QC checks, and all of the data collected values appear in the in this case in column 10 of this enterprise integration spreadsheet. Now there's one more feature of this process which builds on an existing feature. So it's possible to have a structure which models both a subject and a stub pole with this in the same PLS pole model. And in that case, PRG already has the functionality where it can split out that pole into a separate structure. So if we take a look at this structure, span guys and pole, there is a 40-foot wooden pole and a 90-foot steel pole. And what PRG does automatically is it recognizes that this 40-foot pole is a stub pole, and it will split that out into a separate report. And if we look here, we'll see, so for this structure, span guys and pole, it split that out into two separate reports. So that means that there could be two separate values for the data collected. So if we take a look here, we have two dates. Now, if we wanted to, for some reason, if the date varied between the two, so if the first day, maybe the field crew wasn't able to get the date for the stub pole, but they came back the next day, you can go and make that change on that structure here. And after regenerating the reports, you'd see that the updated value would appear instead of the bulk applied value. And that is it. Those are all of the new features and the behavior of the new data collected field, which can be enabled as a notification, in this case as an error, which ensures that every structure that has a report will have this field defined.